We're going to look at one more type of absolute value equations, and one more set of these. First one we're going to look at, we have the absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to negative 4. So this one's a little different because what we have equal to here is a negative number. And if we think about absolute value, we know that, again, absolute value means the distance that something is from 0 on a number line. And so what this equation right here is telling us is that the distance that x plus 2 represents from the number line is a negative 4. Well, distance can't be negative. And so this right here is an equation that has no solution, because we cannot have a negative distance. No matter what we put in here for x, it's not going to get an absolute value equal to negative 4. So it's a no solution. Let's take a look at another one. We have the absolute value of x plus 3 is minus 4 equals negative 1. Well, again, we have something equal to a negative 1, but if you remember from the last video, our first goal in solving an equation with absolute values is to get the absolute value part by itself first. So our first step here is not to look at this and say, oh, it's equal to a negative 1, it must be a no solution. We need to get the absolute value first, by itself first, because it's a no solution if we have the absolute value, and only the absolute value, equal to a negative. Well, we need to add 4 to both sides here, and look what happens. We have the absolute value of x plus 3 equal to negative 1 plus 4 is a positive 3. And so this is an equation that we can go ahead and solve. We would set it up into the 2 separate equations like we did before. X plus 3 equals 3, x plus 3 equals negative 3. Subtract 3 from both sides here. We have x is equal to 0. Over here we subtract 3, and we have x is equal to negative 6. And both of those would be answers that would work. Let's take a look at another one. We have negative 6 times the absolute value of 10 minus 2x is equal to 24. Well, again, we know our first goal is to get the absolute value by itself, so we need to divide both sides by negative 6. And when we do that, we have 10, the absolute value of 10 minus 2x equal to 24 divided by negative 6 is negative 4. Well, here we have the absolute value by itself, and it's showing that it's equal to a negative number. Well, this is saying that this has a distance equal to negative 4. Distance cannot be negative, so this would be another no solution. Again, if we had tried to decide that from the very beginning, we would have thought it had a solution because this was equal to a negative. But we can't make the decision on no solution until we have the absolute value part isolated. Let's take a look at one more. We have negative 4 times the absolute value of 5 plus 2x is equal to negative 16. Now again, we're equal to a negative, but the absolute value is not by itself. So we need to first divide both sides by negative 4. So we have the absolute value of 5 plus 2x is equal to a positive 4, because a negative 16 divided by negative 4 is positive 4. So this is going to have solutions. So we can set up our 2 equations to find out what those solutions are. 5 plus 2x equals 4. And 5 plus 2x equals negative 4. Now we solve this by subtracting 5 from both sides. So we have 2x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals negative 1/2. Now we do the same thing over here, subtract 5. We have 2x equals negative 9. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals negative 9/2. And those are our 2 solutions.